You know how we sometimes joke that we share a brain?
Yeah.
And that, it has to be somebody gets it one week and the other person gets it the other week.
Yep.
That seems to be like Toronto and Tampa with talent right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sharing the talent. And it's like, okay, tonight, Point and Kucherov and Stamkos and Vasilevsky are going to be the best 3 hockey players you've seen in your life. Tomorrow night goes back to Matthews and Nylander's had a fantastic series.
Nylander was the best player on the ice last night.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and it wasn't terribly close. I thought Nylander was brilliant last night.
So why don't we start off with the Toronto Tampa Bay series? And
okay.
I gave you a little bit of homework, which was
right.
These teams in one word. We will obviously expand upon that.
Right.
But
yeah.
Okay, done. 3-minute podcast. We're out of here. We do have a live watch along.
See ya.
Yeah. Wrap up the cue music. All right. So Toronto in a word. Okay,
well, I tried to, I want to preface this. I tried in a couple of areas, and I don't know how this is going to work. Okay. But in a couple of areas, I tried to sort of do a play on names. Okay. So with Toronto, I've got jacked. They're jacked.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And I mean that in the sense that, Jack Campbell.
Yeah, well, I picked up on that.
Yes. I mean, he hasn't been great in this series, and he really wasn't that good until last night. But he saved the series for the Maple Leafs so far. Like he was the one that he let in 2 goals on his first 4 shots, and then he shut it down. He stopped Nick Paul on a breakaway. He stopped Braden Point. I think Braden Point on a breakaway. He stopped like 3 or 4 breakaways. He was excellent. He gave them a chance to find their feet, get back in the game. And really sort of just chip away at that, and you could tell that they were just finding their feet, and they were sort of starting to take over the game in the second period.
He was almost like a salary cap era Grant Fuhr. He'll let in 2, but he won't let in the 3rd.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
the 80s being 5 goals to win a game, now being more like 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything that happens in Toronto is a referendum on their core 4, right? Like good, bad, or otherwise, it's always, they've got 50% of their salary cap tied up in 4 guys. Can they win this way? Can they get past the first round this way? Last night, their core 4 was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why you signed these guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, the GM went out and signed these guys. The GM stuck his neck out on the Jack Campbell situation, right? And made him the guy, and he was rewarded last night. I don't know if they're gonna win this series. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they lay 2 eggs and go out in 7. But right now, they've got some good mojo going for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you want to look back on our last full episode's predictions, but I gave the Toronto Maple Leafs, I gave them 48% chance to win. So I gave Tampa Bay 52% chance for those that don't like subtraction.
Right. Math is hard.
And you gave Tampa 58%. So it's not like either of us were like, super like, Tampa's going to run away with it.
Right.
We both predicted Tampa, but they were very milquetoast predictions, if you will.
I thought it was going to be a short series, but a close series.
Right.
Like a couple of overtime games.
Yeah.
1-goal games, maybe an empty net here or there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be 5 very close games, and it's been 4 ridiculously lopsided games and 1 really close game.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. Yeah. And Jack Campbell's being completely out of sorts at times. He's been fine at times, but and similar, like, the story in game 1 was Marner got his groove back, and the story in game 2 was trade the bum.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the nature of the team. It's the nature of hockey, really, is that there's no superstar that's scoring every single night. I mean, it's like Connor McDavid. There's no bigger superstar in the game, and yet not scoring every single night.
He was ridiculous last night, though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So let's talk about Tampa Bay Lightning. What's your word for the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Marooned.
Well done.
Well, I'm trying.
Well done.
Yeah, it's not going to be that good the whole way through. I can tell you right now. And they're not like, I tried to do them all on players, but it's really hard. But anyways, and when I say marooned, I mean tired. They look tired.
Yeah.
And Sheldon Keefe said it last night. He said you could tell in the second period. He said they were getting tired, and we were talking about it on the bench. We were coming at them, and they just sort of wore down and let the Leafs take the game over. I mean, they had that game.
Yeah.
And John Cooper's John Cooper's still maintaining that they're giving it to Toronto, and he might be right. That it's more the way they've played than it has been the way the Leafs have played. And he might be right about that. And, can a team turn it around like that? Yeah. And in 2 games, flip the script from what it was in game 5? Absolutely. Yeah. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning, and if there's a team that can do it, it's this one.
Right.
And now we're going to see because the Leafs have been in this position before.
Yeah.
They were up 3-1 on
They've been in a better position before.
Exactly. They were up 3-1 on the worst team in the playoffs last year. Yep. And they watched it slip away, and game 7 was an abomination.
Yeah.
It was an abomination. They were terrible in game 7. So, I mean, I'm still in you got to do it.
A good friend of mine who's a big Leafs fan said that game 7 last year was the most zen that he's ever been in a loss, because he said, I just knew it, and I was completely resigned to it. He said, I'd put the game on the TV, but I was washing dishes and doing different things and just puttering, because he just knew it, right? He just knew it. And he said he felt completely zen and at peace. It just made me think of, the executioner in The Last Meal and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, they've been in a better position before, but I almost wonder if the fact that they're in close and in tight with possibly the best team in the league. Maybe not.
Oh, the best team that they've ever had.
I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, I see. Okay,
they're tight. They're in close. This is a different situation as opposed to kind of falling asleep at the wheel.
It's different than 2020 when in the bubble, when you're in the bubble and there's nobody in the crowd, and you go down 3-0 to Columbus in game 4.
Yeah.
And you come back and win. And then you drop the bomb in game 5, right? Yeah. Like it feels different this time. Like it's not the same. I mean, Columbus, Tampa Bay is not Columbus. You're earning it against, as you say, one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
And I just, I can't get a handle on this series. I was convinced that Tampa was going to win last night before the game. I just felt it. And
but I thought it was Toronto's turn.
For 20 minutes, it really did look like that was going to happen, and it looked like I remember after the first intermission, we were sitting there talking about, okay, so once the Leafs lose a series, do they fire Sheldon Keefe and throw a Brinks truck at Barry Trotz? Yeah, like that was the whole dialogue, right?
Yeah,
and then now the switch has been flipped.
The switch has indeed been flipped. You wrote an article as well about that last night on your Substack, kencampbell.substack.com. Mm-hmm. You should definitely give that a look, give that a subscribe. If you're listening to this podcast and are unfamiliar with Ken's writing, then definitely do that. And of course, check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. And tonight, if you're listening to this Wednesday, then tonight, and if you're listening to this Thursday, then also tonight yeah. We will be on the Hockey Podcast Network, which we are affiliated with, and we will be on their YouTube channel doing a live watch along for the Pittsburgh Penguins Rangers games Wednesday. I put an S. I put S's on the ends of things that don't require it.
That's because there's some Latvian in your genealogy.
I haven't done one of those genealogy tests, but I can tell you, it's there's not laughing. I can tell you it's like anyways, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. or not. Or not.
You don't want to do a full segment on my family's history?
Nope.
Okay. Well, then there you go.
Nope.
Anyways, yeah, check us out. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Like, I don't even know what this thing is tonight that we're doing. Like this, I've never been a part of anything like this before. So
I'll do play-by-play and you'll do color.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, baby. I'm ready. I'll get all the names wrong.
He was Johnny on the spot there, wasn't he?
Put a little too much mustard on it.